Yeah.
Now, uh, entrepreneurs often reinvest everything back into their businesses. How
Yes.
does that behavior impact financial aids, and how can you maybe structure things differently?
No, I think that works out great because who's to say what the value of your business is, you know? So if you're reinvesting all your money back into your business, unless you have a $500,000 sitting in a business checking account, it's pretty easy to value your business as being next to nothing, because if you died or if you weren't involved, then the business wouldn't succeed. Like, if you weren't still here, this podcast wouldn't still be here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Mm.
what's the value of your business without you, I guess, really? You know what I'm saying? And so depending on your business, obviously we're all trying to get to that point where we can remove ourselves from our business and it will continue to grow and everything. But putting all your money back into your business to grow your business, that'll just generate you the cash flow to be able to buy the real estate and do these other things.
Okay. Okay. And when we're talking financial aid, you've got your merit-based items and then your non-merit based. And I remember when I was applying for college, there was a FAFSA that I filled out. Is
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Like the government financial aid?
Yep. There's two forms that you're typically going to fill out. The FAFSA is the federal application for student aid, and that is your government form. Okay. So the FAFSA is going to be for a lot of your public schools. Then there's the CSS profile form. The CSS profile form is going to ask additional questions, digging a little deeper, and that's typically used by private schools that have more money to give. That's another thing to kind of point out. A private school that's 80 grand a year or 90 grand a year or pushing 100 grand a year nowadays, they could actually cost a family less than the state school costing 20, 30 grand a year, because they give so much more financial aid if you qualify. So if you qualify for financial aid, a top tier private school is going to give you the most money. They just also happen to be the hardest to get into. So you still have to get into the school. And supposedly they're need blind, meaning they don't look at your finances in making those admissions decisions, but I'll question that all day long.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so if you're going to pay full price, you've got a much better chance of getting in somehow.
yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now, where do they generally draw the line? Are they looking at, is it adjusted gross income that they're looking at? And at what income threshold do you tend to qualify versus not qualify?
Think of it more as around 20% of your income and about 5% of your assets. So let's just roughly say that you make 100,000 a year. If you make 100,000 a year, your financial aid number is going to be in that 20,000 range. Okay. That means that if the school is 80,000 a year, you're going to qualify for $60,000 of financial aid. Because if your number, and this number is just a financial aid number, it's just a number that they calculate when you fill out the financial aid forms. And like I said, it's roughly 20% of your income. So if your financial aid number is 20,000, the school is 80,000, you qualify for $60,000 of financial aid. But just because you qualify for that financial aid doesn't mean that school is going to give it to you. Some schools are more generous than other schools. So, like a local state school, they're not very generous because they're only 30,000 a year retail, right? On a local state school, they're 30,000 a year retail. So if your financial aid number is 20,000, you've only got $10,000 worth of financial aid eligibility, but they might only help you with half of